Welcome to the beautiful Hôtel de Crayeres in Reims, the capital of the Champagne region of France, where Philip and I are at the end of our couple of days away from my 50th birthday, and today we are heading back to Lalande. But before we go, I wanted to show you this amazing place where we've been staying. The chateau looks pretty 18th century. In fact, it was built in 1904 for a member of the Pommery family, and from that point on, it was the home of the directors of Pommery Champagne all the way up until the 70s. And in the 70s it became this just incredible hotel, and there's no more perfect place to explore Champagne than in the home of one of the directors of one of the great houses. I'm so sorry, the room's a bit messy now because we're about to leave, but this is what it looked like when we came in. I knew that I wanted to spend my birthday with my mother and everyone at Lalande, so we had a big brunch together, and so Philip and I had to find somewhere that was under 6 hours drive from Lalande for our mini break, and we thought, where better than Champagne? Neither of us had been here before, and this is the incredible view that we've had from our little balcony as well. It's been a complete dream. Today we're heading home, but first I'm going to go down for breakfast. It is the prettiest sight first thing in the morning when you leave the room to go down to breakfast. We start on the smaller stairs, which is pretty much grander than the grand stairs at Lalande. This is the most extraordinary flocked velvet wallpaper on the walls. I'll just look at those views from every window. And this is the bit that leads to the main staircase. Doesn't that feel pretty perfect first thing in the morning? I must say, going down to breakfast has been a joy every day, even if I've only made it with 1 minute to spare before breakfast is closing each time. On the walls here, it's actually fabric. It's a chintz. Past the extraordinary tapestry and down the main stairs. The little Prince of Lalande's been enjoying it very much, and he's the darling of the whole hotel. Philip ran ahead to the conservatory to get breakfast for us because I was running a little tiny bit late. He just looks as though he belongs here, doesn't he? He just fits in. Yesterday, when we were having breakfast in here, we were at one table. On the table next to us, there was a woman with a huge Great Dane who was very beautiful. And the two of you together made quite the pair, didn't you, darling? Thank you for doing this, because I think Galahad and I would have been pretty devastated to get downstairs and find no breakfast. This is exactly, what I need to start the day. I demolished that embarrassingly quickly. Did they say what this was?
Yes.
Ooh, so pretty. Well, it was good in the first place, but it's even better slathered in homemade praline. Technically, I'm still on holiday, and I'm making the most of it.
Joyeux anniversaire, madame.
C'est trop gentil. Merci beaucoup. En plus, c'est magnifique. C'est adorable. Merci.
Je vous en prie, madame.
Apparently, it's white chocolate with a black currant heart. Okay, I'm going to make a wish. And I also want to show you all how incredible this room is. It's actually the outside of the building. They've put the conservatory against it and they've just dressed it as a normal room with amazing portraits, a chandelier, a spectacular mosaic floor with these little grapes in it. And then that leads through to the bar, which has got all of this dark tartan. It's really moody and wonderful. Look how good the frames of the paintings look against the green velvet walls. The thing I love the most about coming to beautiful places like this is that it gives us so many ideas to take back to Lalande. And here I really enjoy the different scales of the tartans. So we have the huge tartan print on the sofa, and then you don't notice it at first, but all of these blinds are actually a tiny, tiny silk tartan. There's a sort of mid-range tartan on the curtains, and if you look at the back, they have this lovely chintz behind them as well. So you see the two patterns as you're walking through the rooms. And then here is the portrait that Philip and I have decided is our favourite portrait in the entire hotel. Serious widow from the neck down, party in the bonnet. I really can't work out what was going on with that outfit, but it makes me happy every time I look at it. And now I will take you to the bathroom with me, which sounds weird, but let's face it, it's so nice to see how they're decorated when you're somewhere really beautiful. And I love it so much. I couldn't wait to show you. I came here last night and look at this yellow and pink. It's not a wallpaper, it's a fabric. And there are these beautiful parrot crystal lamps. Actually, we have some like this in Lalande, which I can't wait to put up. They're waiting to go somewhere. Even the taps are gorgeous. This is such a beautiful, beautiful colourway. I find this room very inspirational. And now we're going to go out for our morning walk with Galahad. So this is the view that I have every morning when I bring Galahad out for his walk. But we've come down to the end of the garden because I wanted to show you all this bridge. It seems to be maybe a concrete bridge, but made to look like branches. And these were really fashionable at the turn of the century, and I think would look really, really good in the woods at Lalande if we ever changed that little tiny bridge over the stream. I think it's being propped up right now, but again, very inspirational. I love that. And there's a little grotto, which actually Galahad found one day on the walk. I mean, what garden's a garden without a grotto? This is really the ideal of the perfect romantic garden, isn't it? Look, with the ivy just sort of hiding the entrance.
And there's a little staircase just over there going back up that way.
Oh, look at that! It does everything. Everywhere you turn, it gives ideas for the garden. Although we've only had 2 days here, I feel as though I've had the best, most relaxing break. In fact, I thought that we'd spend all of our time visiting all of the champagne houses and discovering them, but I just slept. But it does mean that today, before going home, we are going to go and taste some champagne. On one side of the terrace is the bar that we were just in for breakfast, and on the other side it's the dining room. In fact, I'm going to pop round and see if I can just have a peek in to show you, because I didn't film the room where we were eating because there were lots of other people eating there. I didn't want to disturb anyone. I just filmed our food. They've been really sweet. They've just let me in to show you all. And the reason I wanted to show you is that hopefully this is the effect, though unfortunately not with as tall a ceiling, as we'll have in the new downstairs dining room, because we've got the same honey-coloured wood going into the dining room. And what I noticed is when I came up close, I realised, just like the panelling we've bought, this is painted. It's painted to look like natural wood so that they can get exactly the tone of natural wood that they want. So this is the effect that you get from that painted faux bois. Even though it's real wood painted to look like wood. I had no idea until we bought the panelling for the downstairs dining room that is what they did in French chateaus. It just looks incredible. Nothing is left to chance, not even the shade of the wood. And now back up the grand staircase, unfortunately, to pack. And now we have the route in reverse, past the wonderful corridor of chintz, which is actually probably more feminine than I'd have gone for and more bedroomy in a corridor. But in fact, I love it. I think it works really, really well. And then through to the dark, romantic flocked velvet paper. Before we go, I'll show you, oh, it's like I came in. I haven't taken my toiletry bag yet. I'll show you the bathroom. It has Eau Impériale by Guerlain for all of the toiletries, and they smell amazing. This is an eau de Cologne that was made by Guerlain especially for the Empress Eugénie in the mid-19th century, and that now they sell. And this is the first time ever that I've been to a hotel and I have found the full bottle of cologne that goes with all of their toiletries in the room, boxed, ready for us to use. That has been so luxurious and so lovely. Isn't it just the prettiest bottle with the little beads on it? So we got here on Monday night. We've had 2 full days in the area. I brought the most wonderful books to read whilst I was here. And of both of these books, the total reading I have done in 2 full days is that. I don't think I realised how tired I was by all of the renovations that have been going on at Lalande until I got here, because the renovations are so exciting that I've been running on adrenaline, loving every second of it. But when I got here with all these plans to explore the whole region and read all these books, I just slept. Before we head back to Lalande, we are actually going to go and visit one of the champagne houses. which is actually just next door to the hotel. Our first stop today is at Villa Demoiselle, which is practically next door to the chateau that we're staying in, but this was built only 2 years later. So the difference is extraordinary. One was built in a neo-18th century style, and this one was in the most bang-up-to-date modern style of the time. It's that period just between Art Nouveau and Art Deco, so we should be seeing both influences inside. Wow. This spectacular villa was built in the modern style by one of the directors of Pommery Champagne, which is actually just next door to here. So it's absolutely no surprise to see that grapes are given pride of place. You can see them on all the decoration around the ceiling. Vanier commissioned this building from the Parisian architect Louis Sorel. And just as the chateau that we were just at, Pommery owned this building up until the 1970s, and at the same time as they sold the other chateau, which became the Hôtel des Crayeres, they sold this one too, but this one fell into ruin. So by the time Franken bought it in 2004, it was a total ruin inside, and they had to find the finest artisans in France to be able to bring it back to its former glory. And in fact, it's now on UNESCO's World Heritage List. But what was very lucky is that the mosaic floors were intact, so these have only been cleaned. Everything else needed to be redone, but not the spectacular floors. I must say the Brit in me is feeling quite at home seeing the amount of William Morris wallpaper that they've used for all of the exhibitions. They're here on the pedestals, and here behind the paintings as well. There's another wallpaper by Morris, because of course the arts and crafts movement in the UK was heavily linked with the movement in France, which was called l'art dans tout, art in everything. Interestingly, even though the style couldn't be more different, you can see similarities between this and the Chateau de Lalande. They were only created 50 years apart, and just as at Lalande, every single surface is covered with stenciling. There's the heavy use of stained glass. Every inch is decorated. So although the styles change, the techniques haven't, and the desire to have this complete work of art where everything is decorated in the same style, that's remained the same over those 50 years. The single most majestic object in the entrance hall is this extraordinary, monumental fireplace carved by Paul-Alexandre Dumas, and in 1900 this was even exhibited at the Great Exhibition. You could stare at it for hours. You see how those branches are just rising up to the ceiling and using natural forms as the basis of architecture, of columns, everything in the home. And there are more Art Nouveau jewels in the dining room, because this furniture was commissioned by Vanier, who had this house built, by Émile Gallet, the foremost Art Nouveau furniture designer in France. And it takes your breath away. This is his autumn sideboard, and you can even still see some of the colours of the original marquetry here. Oh my goodness, the handles, I mean, they almost look like cobwebs. And just in the corner, you can see Gallet's signature. And the table is called Edible Herbs. So I suspect that if we look closer, we will find various edible herbs, but it's quite hard to pick them out at the moment. I definitely see butterflies. Imagine sitting at this tabletop for a meal and seeing that beautiful design in front of you. Almost the entire set of furniture that Vanier owned has been repurchased for this room. The only thing missing is the mirror, which is apparently in a Japanese museum. On the curtains, you can see this iris design. The iris is a symbol of the Franken Champagne house, and they had these made specially by Prel. Now, Prel are one of the oldest silk manufactories in Lyon. They've made all the fabric for Marie Antoinette's bedroom in Versailles, and here they've used that French savoir-faire to create these spectacular curtains that fit so well into this Art Nouveau room. In this room, there is a new addition to the decoration. This is a chandelier from the 21st century, and it's Philippe Starck's design for Baccarat. And it was to celebrate the fact that whilst the building was created in 1908, its renovation was completed in 2008. So there's something from that period in here as well. And here we have the room that was the office of the director of Pommery. Nowadays, it has this spectacular piece of furniture by Majorelle. And the wall lights are spectacular too. Oh, I didn't even realise it was a woman at first. The furniture in here was very sober. And now it's holding lots of pieces of faience that were collected by Vanier. And I love the banquettes built into it. In a way, it gives me the impression of a very luxurious railway carriage, with its two banquettes facing each other, entirely surrounded by panelling. And this room was originally the billiard room. The billiard table is gone, and it looks as though it's set up for some pretty nice champagne tastings now. But the standout feature in this room is the stained glass. And you can see the same arching, naturalistic decoration on the stairs, which just gently curve all the way up 2 stories. And that huge chandelier coming all the way down had to be remade by master metalworkers, and Saint Louis made all of the crystal for it. Well, let's go up the glorious staircase to see what we find upstairs. If you're wondering why Philip and Galahad aren't with me, it's because dogs aren't allowed here. So he's sitting outside, and later we'll swap. I'll sit with Galahad and he'll have a run round. At the top of the stairs here, there's another piece of furniture that looks so similar to the director's office downstairs. Again, it's these wonderful banquettes built into the furniture itself, with a cabinet above and to the side. They are glorious. There's even a little tiny ledge to put your drink on while sitting there. Here we have the large reception room that Franken still uses for their dinners and receptions. And what's exceptional in this room is the flooring, because sadly, this room had lost all of its original flooring, and they wanted something very special to go in its place. So they decided to use the wood from oak barrels that had been holding wine for well over 100 years, and the wine has stained the barrels. So what you're looking at here is a history of wine that has been drunk for hundreds of years and the barrels that held it. Pretty fitting for a champagne house. And in every room there are such spectacular Art Nouveau pieces, because although a lot of the original furniture was missing, they've been buying pieces by the finest names in Art Nouveau, so that this has become a museum to the glories of that era. Next, we have the Cabinet of Curiosities that holds some of the collection of faience collected by Madame Pommery. Next, we're hoping to go to Veuve Clicquot. She was the first great female businesswoman in Champagne, but Madame Pommery was certainly the second. And it looks as though quite a lot of the money that she made from that, she spent on lovely vases. I think Philip's going to approve when he comes up here. And the final room on this floor is a little salon with another extraordinary piece of Art Nouveau furniture, that wonderful jardinière with a mirror behind it and lamps. I mean, talk about functional. You have a plant pot, a mirror, and a light fitting in one. And this room has walls that are of embossed leather, and they give this warm honey glow to the room. But there's still one more floor to see, and I think that it has his and hers bedrooms upstairs. Which way is which? Oh, there's another one of those amazing jardinières. This one without lights. Should we go around this way? No, I've hit the lift. So, it must be over here. Oh gosh, that's a beautiful table. It's so light. It feels as though it's just made out of branches. So through here. Yes, I have found the bedroom, and again, an extraordinarily useful piece of furniture. Function and form were intertwined in Art Nouveau. So here you have the wardrobe on one side, and then the washstand on the other, all attached. There's even a little breakfast in bed tray. Just 2 eggs, some salt, everything you need for a delicious breakfast. And there is even a bathroom through here. Oh, and a shower, my goodness. They put all mod cons in when they restored this house. I love the high Art Nouveau style paneling as well. I think this is the gentleman's bedroom. So let's go and look for the ladies' bedroom. Which, is in here, La Chambre de Madame. Another beautiful Art Nouveau bed, this time with lovely curtains around it. A little kidney-shaped dressing table in the window, so there's beautiful light here. And another bathroom. Of course, these bathrooms were added at the time of the restoration. They wouldn't have been quite this elaborate at the beginning. And shouldn't all baths look like that, filled with ice and champagne? But I think my favourite thing in this room is actually the fireplace. It's so delicate. It has the same forms as the wooden furniture downstairs, but somehow having it in stone like this, so delicately painted, makes it very light and fresh. So there we have it, the beautiful Villa Demoiselle. And now I'm going to go downstairs to look after Galahad while Philip looks around, and I'm going to try a glass of Franken champagne because it would be wrong not to. Though, wow, I have just been stopped in my tracks by the sheer beauty of the light coming into that staircase. It's funny because when we came here, I thought that we'd be comparing all of these different champagnes and having taste testings. In fact, we didn't really do that, and we've ended up comparing the early 20th century architecture of 2 of the most beautiful buildings in Reims. And I think for me, that's been even more enjoyable, and it's a part of it that I wasn't expecting at all. And if you ever come to Champagne, I really, really recommend coming to both of these buildings. Now, the hotel, it's really for special occasions. It's really beautiful, but you don't have to stay there. You can go for lunch, you can go for dinner, you can go and sit there for tea in the afternoon, or a coupe of champagne in the bar. It's absolutely worth going to see. The staff are lovely, and then you come here to Villa Demoiselle, which is really nearby. You can see the different approaches to creating beauty at exactly the same time in history in the same place. They're literally walking distance one from another. They're on neighbouring lots, and it's also walking distance from Veuve Clicquot, and we're going to go there for lunch now.
She says having just devoured cheese.
Philip, that was a snack. That wasn't lunch.
Sorry.
That was a snack for me and for Galahad whilst we were waiting for you.
Soak up the champagne.
We're on our way to Veuve Clicquot, which we didn't choose because of my orange dress, but because you just walk out of the hotel, straight down the road, and it's right there. And I think Galahad in particular is very excited about the champagne.
Oh, he's looking forward to
very
tasting.
much so. It's strange because we're in the middle of town. There's cars going past on a pretty busy road, and yet this feels like a country path. And on the other side of this wall, it's just vineyards. Here we are. I do love the orange, I must say. Ah, La Grande Dame. I think I tasted that once 20 years ago, and never since. Oh wow, we're starting by going straight down into the caves where the champagne is kept. I'm loving the orange lighting. Honestly, I thought I'm more excited about the champagne. I'm more excited about everything being orange. Oh, well, that would be...
Is that?
I don't know, but it'd be great for a party.
Sorry?
That's not even the normal one over there. That's the Magnum.
Exactly. It was 15 litres, the big one.
15 litres?
15. So I think enough for me, your aunt, and maybe a little bit for you.
Oh my goodness, this is unbelievable. We have had the most fabulous tour, going down into the cellars, learning more of the history of Veuve Clicquot and the extraordinary widow, Clicquot Ponsardin. She found herself a widow at 27 and realised that if she kept the status, the legal status of widow, which meant agreeing never to marry again for the rest of her life, then she could have the same, or at least similar, rights to a man at the time, which meant that she could take over the firm. And she just took it to stellar heights and invented a lot of new processes. And when talking about that, we discovered a few of the things that I had been very confused about. For example, I don't know if any of you have noticed, but if you go to the supermarket, there's a bottle of champagne and a magnum of the same champagne. The magnum is usually more expensive than 2 of the normal bottles, even though it contains 2 of the normal bottles and it's only 1 bottle, so you'd think it would be slightly cheaper. One of the clues to that could be in an invention made by Veuve Clicquot herself, and that's that when you make champagne, as part of the process of the yeast eating lots of sugar and turning into alcohol, eventually the yeast dies in the bottle, and all of that yeast would stay in the bottle. So in the past, champagne was always a very cloudy drink. There was always residue of the yeast. And she discovered a way of making it completely clear, because she said champagne must be as much a pleasure for the eyes as the palate. She discovered that if you turn the bottle upside down and turn it regularly, you could get all of that yeast to come off the sides of the bottles and into the very tip. After that, you can just remove the tip of the bottle, top it up with some clear champagne, and there you have a clear bottle. And to this day, all of that sediment in a bottle of the size of a magnum and above, it's turned by hand, because the magnums don't fit into the new machines. There are machines, so all of the actual bottles, almost all the bottles, are done by machine nowadays, but not the magnums. Also, the magnum is a better shape for all of the yeast to do its job, so the same champagne should apparently taste just a teensy bit better in a magnum than in a normal bottle.
I agree.
You just like it for the size. We're trying 2 different champagnes over a lovely lunch here. One is La Grande Dame. This is the greatest champagne that Veuve makes. They only make it when they have a wonderful vintage, and this is the 2018 and it's mind-blowing. And this one we ordered, it's called The Rich. I don't know if you've seen it for sale. It's literally made to be had with an ice cube. So purists the world over will be needing to lie down in a darkened room.
It's like a cocktail.
It's like a cocktail. Yeah. We ordered it because this has 55 grams of sugar. This one, like most of Veuve's champagnes has 6 grams of sugar. And in fact, the one that we fell in love with tasting here is the extra dry that we're taking back to Cellars. That has only 3 grams of sugar in a bottle. But the reason I wanted to try the 55 grams was because in the early days of champagne, when Veuve Clicquot started to export to Russia and to the rest of the world, there was upwards of 200 grams of sugar in bottles that were going to Russia because they liked it so incredibly sweet. And even for the British market, it was about 35 to 50 odd grams of sugar. So here in this, we're tasting the champagne of the 18th century. It was much sweeter than it is today. Actually, it is delicious, even though I do prefer dry. Ice cube's pretty fun. I'll stick to the dry one though, darling, the vintage. You want the sweet one? And now I'm enjoying it with a cheese platter, and Philip's gone for the burger. And actually there's even posters, I don't know if you noticed, Philip, inside of like a bottle of Veuve next to a burger.
Really?
Yeah, they really say it's delicious with a burger.
I'm going to find out.
Goodbye, Hotel de Crayeres. It has been lovely, and I very, very much hope we'll be back one day. Maybe something to look forward to for my 60th birthday. Well, we've made it. We are home. I am so happy because when I got back, I started automatically walking up to the temporary kitchen. And I can't believe it. I just somehow forgotten when we came back that this has all been done and it's all marvellous and we're all reunited, and he is so happy to see you. Almost as happy as I am, Marie.
I miss him so much. It's been awful without him.
He has been marvellous. He's been champagne tasting in Veuve Clicquot. Yeah, he's been sitting in the garden of champagne houses. He's been wandering. Everyone in the hotel loved him so much.
Everybody. Yes.
Everybody.
Yes.
They gave him a special footstool when we were having the fancy dinner so he could sit at the table with us. Yeah.
It's so good to be back.
It's the first time I've seen the trolley come into the new kitchen. Are you using it then for the breakfast things?
Always.
And it's working?
It's working, and I don't have to break my back. So it's really wonderful.
Shall I help you with one of those carafes? See if it pours into a glass.
How about some cold wine instead?
Yeah, all right. Cheers, Marie. Cheers. Good to be home.
So good to have you home.
This is Marie doing the hand turning of the magnums at Veuve Clicquot. You'd be very good. You've got the knack. But imagine, all day, every day, just turning bottles.
Oh my goodness.
It would drive you insane.
Yes, I would need a stool.
I think every time we drink a magnum of Veuve, we have to think of the people who are doing that in the cave.
Absolutely, we will.